So, Sue Bird has been probably one of the bigger fans of Caitlyn Clark, which, funnily enough, would be one of those things where you're like, it should be almost a surprise that Sue Bird is that close to Caitlyn Clark, because of all people in the WNBA community that have the most to lose by the emergence of Caitlyn Clark, the number one might be Sue Bird, because Caitlyn Clark might end up, when it's all said and done, taking her spot as the greatest point guard ever. More than likely will. Before we get on to it, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're trying to hit 27.3k by the end of the day. We're only 15 off. But let's take a look right here at this right here. So this is what Sue Bird has said on her podcast about what team she does not want to would not want to face in the playoffs. And she's not wrong what she's saying here, because the logic is sound.
You brought up the fever. I think what I've learned in my WNBA experience is pace of play trumps physicality. It trumps size. It can trump experience, because a lot of times when you're experienced, it's really like code word for your veteran, which is code word for your old.
Slow the pace.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, though, is that there's no old team in the WNBA right now. I know Dewana Bonner and Alyssa Thomas might be old themselves, but their team's not old. You've got Dejanay Carrington, you've got Marina Mabry. The Liberty are not old. The Aces are not, the Aces of Chelsea Gray, but Chelsea Gray is 31 going on 40, but the rest of the team is not old. Like, a lot, there's not really that many old teams other than the Mercury.
So I feel like
I know that's why you guys were so good for those
in
years.
2018 and 2020, the years we won, that was our whole mantra, was pace, 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 pace. And what I see in Caitlyn, what I see in Kelsey Mitchell, they're just like ramming it down people's throats. And it's really hard. It can have your head spinning.
Like, that is just the way that they're going to have to play. Like, this team was not good at the start of the year when they slowed the game down. They were not good last year when they slowed the game down. They were not good the year before. This is the first time Kelsey Mitchell's even been close to 500 in her career, by the way. Like, that's the truth. This time last year, through 28 games, I'm pretty sure the Fever were like 7-21. So, like, we talk about how bad the Mystics and the Sparks are. That was the Fever last year.
So yeah, as I mentioned, Kelsey Mitchell's balling, Caitlyn continuing to impress, and she's going to break records nonstop for the next couple of years.
Yeah. She'll break the assist record and points generated record, because no one in the history of the WNBA has created points at the rate that Caitlyn Clark has.
Yeah. It's just going to be a constant record break.
Yeah,
the only thing that I find most interesting is at the start of the season, everybody had their panties in a twist over Caitlyn getting picked up full court and Caitlyn being denied.
Ironically enough, Caitlyn Clark seeing every single look has probably made her a better offensive player now. She's seen everything so far in her career.
And I think what I'm not surprised by is naturally during a WNBA season, teams and players, you start to get a little tired. You're kind of in like the doldrums of the every day or every other day is a game. And it's hard to keep that discipline to guard a player like that. So I'm not surprised it dropped off. But what do you know? She's no longer getting picked up full court in the ways that we like teased Ari McDonald for when she did it after a free throw and she still had another free throw. But what you're seeing is Caitlyn now is able to push the ball up the floor. She's able to hit those get-ahead passes.
Yeah.
And so I won't be surprised if as the season gets later into like playoff runs, if you start to see teams do more, and you're definitely going to see it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But everybody, that's why you had to pick Caitlyn up full court.
I will say that the big thing now is that everybody's kind of on the same page. And we saw in the All-Star game, Aaliyah Boston's actually getting really good at hitting those, or like setting almost those like drag screens so that the defender has to kind of run around her to get by her down to the halfway line. With the running, it's very hard to pick up Caitlyn Clark full court when Kelsey Mitchell can just outrun her matchup and go. It's hard to pick up Caitlyn Clark full court off a defensive rebound or with how quickly the Fever are inbounding the ball right now. It's harder because of the pace of play. It's actually, and it's not just how fast players run, it's how fast they react. Like, this is not the team of the fastest players in the WNBA. Like, Caitlyn Clark is fast. She's not like one of the absolute fastest players. She's not Kennedy Carter fast, but they play faster when Kennedy Carter's on the floor. Kelsey Mitchell is, but other than Kelsey Mitchell, they don't have much speed. They just break faster. They're sharper. Like, the ball goes in the basket, and sometimes teams are like, okay, let's take a breather. We scored. Yes, yeah, great, we scored. Whereas if someone scores in the Fever, they're gone. They're just gone.
Yeah. This is why. The numbers she's putting up now, like, this
Y'all
is
stopped,
why.
and now she broke the record.
Yeah, everyone was like mad about it. I was like, I don't get it. That would be like, I don't even know what it would be like. It'd be like letting Kevin Durant shoot pull-ups all day. It's like, no.
Can't do it, y'all.
Yeah, I just, yeah.
She's
I don't
also
know why I
like
picked that
figuring
example,
it out and settling in.
She's definitely figuring it out.
Got a little rest.
Oh, another thing, by the way, I
nice.
never thought Caitlyn wasn't strong. That was actually something I noticed in college. Like, she had a strength about her. Will she get stronger, and will that help her? Yeah. I think it was more just getting used to the hits and the physicality.
I mean, she's not wrong with that. Like, you're seeing Caitlyn now posting up. To be fair, you saw Caitlyn post up a little bit in Iowa. So Subert's kind of on the money with that. But it is an interesting one. Should teams be scared of the Fever? Like, that is an actual question where you're like, it does make you think. Should teams be worried about the Fever? And I think specific teams should be worried about the Fever. I think the Lynx getting freaking Hines Allen. Like, what are you doing, Mystics? I know what you're doing. But I'm going to say this right now. If you are, what's his name? If you are the Fever, why did you not try to sign Hines Allen? I know Temi's coming back, but like, you got her for free. All you had to do is give up like a second. All you had to do is give up a second and filler, and you could have got Hines Allen. You could have given up anyone. You could have given up Saxton and a freaking second for her. And Hines Allen is as good as Alyssa Smith, if not better than Alyssa Smith. I say that, but Hines Allen's on like 100 and something K a year, isn't she? Which meant you would have had to give up Katie. Okay, you win this one, Lyndon. Salary-wise, it actually is fair enough. But yeah. That is pretty much it. I do think Sue Bird is definitely, like, there's a reason she's saying what she's saying. I don't think, like, the Fever should be favorites. I don't think the Fever are even close to being favorites. I think the Fever, if you're asking me for championship favorites, I think the number 1 is the Liberty. Number 2 is the Lynx. I think 3, 4, 5 are the Aces, Fever, or 3, 4, 5, 6, Aces, Fever, Storm, and Sun. I think they're all outside chance of winning, and a lot of people are going to say back to back for the Aces, but the Aces have not looked good this year. The Aces have barely been against good teams. The Aces tend to lose most of the time, and yes, AJ Wilson's unbelievable. The Aces as a team do not look good this year. So anyway, yeah, it'll be very interesting in a best of 3 with how, like, again, I wouldn't say with how many minutes AJ Wilson's playing, but also how many minutes Caitlyn Clark's playing. But it'll be very interesting. My ideal playoff series would be to see the Aces go up to like 3, which I don't think is going to happen, and the Fever go up to 6, which I don't think is going to happen. But my ideal playoff series is the Fever and Aces, because I think that's one that could go down to the wire.